Hi there, I'm Drew Badger, the world's first and number one English fluency guide, and in this video I'd like to answer a question that I receive very commonly, very frequently from learners, and hopefully I don't need a really long lesson to explain this because it's actually a very simple thing, but this is, why can I understand you? So people are asking me, or they're talking to me about me, or talking about language learning, language teachers. In general, they say, why can I understand this lesson? Why can I understand the way you speak, but I can't understand native speakers in everyday conversations or music, movies, TV shows, that kind of thing. So let me make this really clear. The way I'm speaking right now is different from the way I communicate normally with everyday native speakers. And the reason I'm communicating like this is because it's easier to understand. And I'm trying to speak clearly, and you can hear my diction. This is the way I'm enunciating words and saying them clearly instead of mumbling. To mumble is like you can't really understand what I'm saying. So I'm expressing all of my words clearly, but I'm also using fairly kind of everyday language that you might find in a textbook. So you notice I'm not using a lot of clever idioms and slang and other expressions like that because a lot of people don't understand these. And if you have all of these things coming at the same time, that's what makes it really difficult for most people to understand things like movies and native speakers in everyday situations. The metaphor I like to use is trying to drink from a fire hose. So if you go to a regular drinking fountain, it's a thin stream of water and you can easily drink from that. But if you try to open up a fire hose in front of you, the same hose that you would use to put out a fire on a house, if you open up a fire hose and try to drink from that, it's coming at you and there's way too much for you to understand. It's too fast, the vocabulary is too difficult, and the accents are just really difficult. So you've got all these things that are a part of conversational speech, and most people, like maybe yourself, are learning languages not beginning in the same way that a native speaker would, but on a completely different track of education. And this is really beginning with easy things to understand, maybe slow English, simple English, and typically it's taught by people that are not native English speakers. So this happens all the time in Japan. If you go to a Japanese school, you might have a foreigner there that's able to say things, but typically it's a Japanese teacher that really doesn't have such great pronunciation anyway, and so they're trying to say things very slowly and clearly, but still they're giving that bad pronunciation to the students. So here's a great expression for this. This is called the blind leading the blind. I know it's kind of a harsh thing to say, but it just means people that can't see where they're going are also trying to direct other people that also don't really know where they're going. So people with bad pronunciation trying to teach other people how to pronounce things is kind of a weird thing. Anyway, so you've got these two tracks. If you think about the way I'm helping my daughter Aria learn, she's getting access to actual conversational speech. But we're also teaching her very, specific things about the language, and she's getting to see slowly but surely over time, we're making our speech faster and faster for her. So maybe a year ago, she's about 2 years old now. But about a year ago, she's understanding things, and maybe she can point at something or understand what we're talking about. If we say, where is the, fish on the book, and she can point to it. But now we can say, where's the fish? And she understands what we're saying because we've developed in her that ability to understand that over time. So basically you have a baby like my daughter, and you have a non-native speaker. They're both starting at the same place, neither one of them knowing any English, but they're learning in two different tracks like that. So this track is the traditional way of learning, and this track is the native way of learning the language, and it's really two different things. Now the major problem here, besides learning in different ways, is that you actually have, it's just you're learning. Maybe the best way to explain it is the way that you speak, or the way that you learn to speak, especially if you want to communicate with people, is different than the way you learn to read and write. And it's the same thing with the way you're listening. So again, if you're listening to people and you're only listening to that slow, easy, textbook English that you would find in a lesson, or even the things that you're seeing in a video like this, I can help you learn lots of vocabulary, but really it's hard for people to to go from this to a conversation when people are speaking in a different way. So as an example, here's how I would speak maybe normally when I'm talking with someone. I was just out visiting my younger sister in San Francisco, and there are kind of different levels or different speeds that you can speak at when you're a native speaker. And people can still understand you because they understand the pieces of the words and the context of the situation. So, as an example, I might say, I'm going to go to the store. So my sister has a little store that's maybe 2 blocks from her house. And I say, hey, I'm going to go to the store. Now, I could say that and she would maybe look at me funny, like, why are you speaking like that? Why are you sounding kind of slow and like a robot? And in that case, again, I'm trying to make it clear so you understand what I'm saying, but my sister doesn't need that because she's already developed the ability, she's developed the habit of understanding how I speak normally. And it's the same thing for all native speakers. Now, if I say I'm going to go to the store, I could say it a little bit faster, and you probably know the expression, I'm gonna go to the store. I'm gonna go to the store. But listen carefully as I get even faster with it, even shorter and smaller with my language. I'm gonna go to the store. I'm going to go to the store. Like, you can't even understand what I'm saying really unless you really know, unless you practice, unless you've been prepared for that kind of listening. I'm going to go to the store. I'm going to go to the store. Like, I'm a go to the store. This is like really, I mean, it's bad English. I mean, it's something you wouldn't write if you're writing a test or an essay or something. But casually, this is how we speak. Yeah, I'm going to go to the store. 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 Even like, I bet the subtitles, the captioning will be really messed up for this. So don't try to read it. It won't help you. I'll put it up on the screen anyway for you. But I'm going to go to the store. I'm going to go to the store. I'm going to go to the store. It's like, I'm going to go to the store. So even trying to say it slowly, it makes it a little bit easier to hear, but it's very different from I'm going to go to the store. So when you're listening to things like this, you have to practice listening to more conversational speech. But really, the only thing you can do is transition slowly and over time from this way of understanding, from the way of listening to someone like this, an English lesson, to listening to something that's an actual conversation. So being able to understand all of these things. And this is exactly why in Master English Conversation, we have a series of steps called the Fluency Bridge that takes you from this level of understanding to, okay, first we're going to learn some of the expressions. We're going to learn how you pronounce them. We're going to learn why people use them. And then finally, you learn, okay, like this is how they happen in real conversations. So in Master English Conversation, that's where I speak normally. I speak a little bit faster and I'm using much more, interesting expressions and things like that. But I take people from this kind of textbook level, this English lesson level, up to that level. But again, the tricky thing is you can't just jump up to that level. You have to go up in easy steps. That's really the only way I can think of it to retrain your mind so that you can actually speak fluently and confidently and understand what people are saying. So for you now, whether you join the program or not, whether you're actually learning with me in something like Master English Conversation or the Fluency course, really what you should be doing is taking small pieces of language that you can understand. So going from maybe an English lesson to a more native environment, like even children's shows, and watching those kinds of things and then listening to that first. So you have to go back to what native speakers are actually listening to develop your understanding. This takes a lot longer than doing something like using the Fluency Bridge, but if you're just learning by yourself and it's something you want to do for free, then it's easily something you could do to improve. So think about that. Again, if you want to improve, if you want to go from this level over here to this level, really to get higher, you have to cross what I call the fluency gap. And really the only way to do that at a quick, fast way, or in a quick, fast way, is to use something like the Fluency Bridge. So you're learning all these different pieces and then preparing to see them and hear them when they're used in a real conversation. If you can't do that, then again, go back to something like watching children's shows, reading books that are going to give you more something that a younger child or even a teenager might use, and then work up from that. So you have to go back to where native speakers are and try to improve the same way native speakers are improving. Well, that's it for this lesson. I hope I've made it clear. Really, it's two different ways of learning the language, and the more you can learn like native speakers, the more you become able to speak and understand what they're saying. So really, it's the best thing you can do to improve, and hope you understand that. I'm sure I will get more questions after this about how people are understanding like natives, but really this is the most important one. So the reason that you can understand this but not understand things like a TV show or a movie or whatever is because of how you learned. You trained yourself to understand slow, basic things like this, and now it's really difficult if you try to make that jump to movies, TV shows, and conversations. So you have to go back to something more basic and work up. It takes a little bit longer, but that's a way to do it. Or you can use something like the Fluency Bridge, like we use in Master English Conversation and the Fluency course. Well, I hope you have enjoyed this video and that it gives you some food for thought, so something to think about. And then it explains why and kind of why you struggle to understand, but also what you can do about it. So I hope you have enjoyed the video. Do click that like button if you have, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Become a subscriber, and also really if you'd like to just learn more about how to improve your listening in general, click on the button right here, or actually the link in this video, and it will take you to our English fluency quiz, and you can tell us that listening is the thing you struggle most with, and we'll tell you exactly how to improve that, all for free. So click on the link in this video, and I look forward to seeing you in the quiz. Bye-bye.